Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to explain to you what is stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculations. So I will begin with the term stoichiometry. What does it mean? Stoichiometry actually deals with calculation of masses or volumes of the reactant and product that are involved in a chemical reaction. You know that according to law of conservation of mass, balancing of a chemical reaction is very important because matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. We cannot create or destroy any atom. So according to a balanced chemical equation, what does a balanced chemical equation actually convey us the message? So we have got a chemical reaction highlighted in front of us. This reaction is for combustion of methane. You can see that CH4 reacts with 2O2 to give CO2 and 2H2O. So in this chemical reaction, you can see that I have highlighted two digits over here. I have highlighted to number 2 over here, and in this again I have highlighted it, but in front of methane, that is CH4 molecule, nothing is written, no number is written. Similarly for carbon dioxide, no number is written. So what does it represent? What does it show? It shows that when no number is written, then no number represents 1. We have to understand it that 1 is there. So when one molecule or one mole is involved, then we don't write any number in front of the formula of the compound. So let us see now. So these numbers are known as coefficients, stoichiometric coefficient. So the coefficient 2 for oxygen and water are known as stoichiometric coefficient. I have mentioned it in the next point. So what does this chemical reaction convey us? It says that the stoichiometric coefficient for methane is 1, stoichiometric coefficient for oxygen is 2, for again carbon dioxide it is 1, and for water it is 2. So a stoichiometric coefficient represents either the number of molecules or the number of moles of the reactant and the product in a balanced chemical equation. So see the last point over here. A stoichiometric coefficient represents the number of molecules as well as number of moles of the reactant and product in a balanced chemical equation. So if we talk in terms of number of molecule, it will represent number of molecule. And what does it mean? It means that one molecule of methane will react with 2 molecules of oxygen to form 1 molecule of carbon dioxide and 2 molecules of water. But if we talk in terms of number of moles, the same chemical reaction will represent gives the information as 1 mole of methane gas reacts with 2 moles of oxygen gas to form 1 mole of carbon dioxide and 2 moles of water vapor. Thus it conveys us the following information. As I have penned down all this, you can see here 1 mole of the first information that it conveys is that 1 mole of carbon dioxide gas reacts with 2 moles of oxygen to give 1 mole of carbon dioxide and 2 moles of water. Now this information it is conveying because we are talking in terms of number of moles. Now if we talk in terms of number of molecule, then again similarly 1 molecule of methane is reacting with 2 molecules of oxygen to give 1 molecule of carbon dioxide and 2 molecules of water vapor. So in the first point we were talking about the chemical reaction in terms of number of moles. In the second point we are talking in terms of number of molecules. What further information it conveys? It also conveys us regarding the volume and the mass of the substances involved in chemical reaction. So let us see how it conveys regarding volume. Since 1 mole of methane, we have got 1 mole of methane, and in my previous video I told you that 1 mole of any gas at STP occupies 22.7 liters of volume. So 1 mole of methane will occupy 22.7 liter. So what information it conveys now? 22.7 liter of methane, it reacts with 45.4 liter of oxygen. How can you say that 45.4 liter? Because we had 2 moles of oxygen. Now 2 moles of oxygen means it will be 22.7 into 2, which is coming out to be 45.4 liter of oxygen. and it gives again 22.4 liter of carbon dioxide, because only 1 mole of carbon dioxide was involved as the product, and 2 again and 45.4 liter of water. Why 45.4 liter of water? Because 2 moles of water was formed in the chemical reaction. So this third point is regarding the volume of the reactant and the product involved in the balanced chemical reaction. Now you have to keep in mind that whenever we do any numerical question involving stoichiometry, first thing that we have to see is that the chemical reaction given to you must be balanced. Many times already a balanced reaction is given, but if it is not given, then it is expected that the student will balance the chemical reaction himself, and then they will go ahead with the numerical. Now we are going to talk in terms of mass of the reactant and product. So 16 gram of methane reacts with 2 into 32 gram of oxygen. Now this question might come to your mind that why I am saying that 16 gram of methane. So what is the molecular formula of CH4? Molecular mass of CH4 will be 12 you have for carbon and 4 you have for hydrogen. So 12 plus 4 is 16. So molar mass of methane is 16. I repeat again, what is molar mass? Molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of any substance in gram. So that is why it's 16 gram. 16 is the molecular mass of methane, and the unit is gram. So 16 gram represents the molar mass of methane. Since we had only 1 mole of methane in the chemical reaction, so this fourth point is mentioned over here, that 16 gram of methane reacts with 2 into 32 gram of oxygen. Now question might come to your mind that why I am saying that 2 into 32 gram of oxygen, because you can see that 2 moles of O2 are formed. 2 moles of O2 are formed in the reaction. So O2 means 2 atoms of oxygen, and atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So for 1 atom it is 16. So 2 atoms of oxygen, it becomes 32. And since 2 moles are formed, so I have written over here that it 2 into 32 gram of oxygen. Similarly, 1 mole of carbon dioxide is formed, and molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44, and when it is represented in gram, it becomes the molar mass. So gives 44 gram of carbon dioxide and 2 into 18 gram of water. Similarly, it is written over here that 2 into 18. Why 2 into 18? Because molar mass of water is 18, and since 2 moles are formed, then it becomes as the mass of water which is formed becomes as 2 into 18 gram of water. So I repeat the fourth point over here. 16 gram of methane reacts with 2 into 32 gram of oxygen to give 44 gram of carbon dioxide and 2 into 18 gram of water. I hope this point must be clear to you. Now next thing that we are going to discuss is limiting reagent. Limiting reagent. Now what is a limiting reagent? You have to learn the definition here. The reactant which gets consumed first in the chemical reaction and due to which the reaction stops is known as limiting reagent. See the definition, it's written here. The reactant which gets consumed first during the reaction and thus limits the amount of product formed is called a limiting reagent. Like in this chemical reaction, if you see, I'll just take the example that we have taken over here. See this chemical reaction. According to this balanced chemical reaction, it means that 1 mole of methane needs 2 moles of oxygen for the reaction to be complete. I repeat, 1 mole of methane needs 2 moles of oxygen for the reaction to be complete. It is not necessary that always when the reaction is carried out you will have this ratio of 1:2. Many times the ratio might be disturbed. So if you have the amount of oxygen lesser than 2 moles, like you have only 1 mole, अब मैं ये बात कर रही हूँ, अगर मेरे पास 2 मोल ऑक्सीजन ना हो, एक ही मोल ऑक्सीजन हो, फिर केमिकल रिएक्शन क्या होगा? जैसे ही 1 मोल ऑक्सीजन जो है रिएक्शन में कंज्यूम हो जाएगा, रिएक्शन जो है वो स्टॉप हो जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे रिएक्शन क्यों स्टॉप हुआ? क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन जो था वो स्मॉल अमाउंट में प्रेजेंट था, लेस देन रिक्वायर्ड प्रेजेंट था, जितनी ज़रूरत थी उससे कम प्रेजेंट था ऑक्सीजन, और इसी वजह से रिएक्शन जो है वो बीच में ही रुक गया, पूरा का कंप्लीट रिएक्शन जो है वो नहीं हुआ। तो ऐसे रिएजेंट को लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट बोला जाता है। ऐसा रिएजेंट जो अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट से कम होता है और उसकी वजह से, उसके कंज्यूम होने की वजह से रिएक्शन जो है वो अधूरा रह जाता है, ऐसे रिएजेंट को बोला जाता है लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट। तो लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट यहाँ पर जो होता है दोनों में से कोई भी हो सकता है, मीथेन भी हो सकता है। अगर 1 मोल से कम अगर हमारे पास मीथेन है, सपोज इस केमिकल रिएक्शन में हमें चाहिए 1 मोल ऑफ मीथेन और 1 मोल से कम अगर मीथेन है, सपोज 0.5 मोल्स मीथेन ही है, तो जैसे ही मीथेन खत्म हो जाएगा ऑक्सीजन जो है वो अनयूज्ड पड़ा रहेगा और रिएक्शन वहीं पे स्टॉप हो जाएगा, रिएक्शन विल नॉट अंडरगो कंप्लीशन। सो सच टाइप ऑफ रिएजेंट which is present in lesser amount and due to which the complete reaction does not take place is known as limiting reagent. Let us now discuss how we are going to find out the concentration of solution. There are many ways by which we can find it out the concentration of a given solution. Some of them you have studied in class 9th. So let us try to study about what are these methods by which concentration of a solution can be calculated. So the first one is mass percentage. Mass percentage is equal to mass of solute upon mass of solution into 100. So you know what is a solute and a solvent. A solution is made up of two components. The component which is smaller in amount is known as solute and the component which is larger in quantity is known as solvent. So when we mix both of them together, when we mix solute into solvent, the resultant product is known as solution. So if we want to calculate the concentration in terms of mass percentage, this is the formula how we calculate the concentration of a solution by mass percentage, and you have worked on it in class 9. So this is not anything new to you. Now the next one is mole fraction. This one is new to you and you have to understand it well, how to find it out. What is mole fraction? See. Now mole fraction, it is the ratio of number of moles of a particular component to the total number of moles of a solution. Now suppose you have got a solution which is made up of two components. Such type of solution is known as a binary solution. A binary solution has got two components. So suppose we have got two components A and B, then how we can find it out the mole fraction? So suppose let us find out the mole fraction of component A. Then mole fraction of component A can be calculated by this formula, and it is equal to number of moles of A upon number of moles of solution. So a solution is made up of both A and B. So in the denominator you will have to sum up the number of moles of A and B. So how to find out mole fraction of A? So first of all you will have to calculate the number of moles of both the component A and B. And how to find it out the number of moles of both the component, I have told you in my previous video. Again I will repeat it. Number of moles is equal to given mass in gram upon molecular mass or atomic mass. If we are talking in terms of an atom, then it will be an atomic mass. If we are talking in terms of a compound, then in denominator you will have the molar mass. So by using this formula you will calculate the number of moles of both A and B separately. So here Na is representing the number of moles of A and Nb is representing the number of moles of B, and this is how we are going to calculate the mole fraction of A. So mole fraction of A is given by the formula number of moles of A upon total number of moles or number of moles of solution. So solution is made up of both solute and solvent. So in the denominator you will have the sum of number of moles of both A and B. So this is the formula, final formula that you are going to use to calculate the mole fraction of A. Similarly, mole fraction of B can be calculated as number of moles of B upon total number of moles. So total number of mole is equal to Na plus Nb. Now one thing you have to keep in mind that mole fraction of A plus mole fraction of B is equal to 1. When you sum up mole fraction of both, it will be equal to 1. So if you are asked in a in a numerical question, if they have asked you to calculate mole fraction of both the components, you have to calculate just one, and the second one could be calculated by subtracting it from 1. Like here, like in this case, you have to calculate the mole fraction of both component A and B. So you have calculated mole fraction of A by using this formula. This formula you have calculated by using the formula. You will calculate the mole fraction of A, and mole fraction of B can be calculated by subtracting it from 1. If you subtract 1 minus mole fraction of A, will give you the mole fraction of B. Now the next concentration term is molarity, and molarity, it is represented by capital M over here. You can see it is denoted by capital M, and it is the most widely used unit. And how is molarity defined as? Molarity, it is the number of moles of solute particles dissolved in 1 liter of solution. I repeat once again, it is the number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 liter. You have to keep this in mind, in 1 liter of the solution. So this is the formula given to calculate the molarity of any solution. So it is given by number of moles of solute upon volume of solution in liter. If the volume of solution is not given in liter but it is given in milliliter, then you have to convert this milliliter into liter by dividing it by thousands. So the formula now becomes number of moles of solute upon volume of solution in ml, and you have to divide this, convert this milliliter into liter by dividing it by 1000. So this is the formula. Now you can see that the molarity of the solution depends upon the volume of the solution. Inversely, so volume is dependent upon temperature. You know that as you heat the substance, volume of the substance will increase. So molarity is a term which is dependent upon temperature, and it varies with temperature. At higher temperature, the volume of the solution will be more due to thermal expansion, and that is why the molarity of the solution will decrease, because they are inversely proportional to each other. So molarity is temperature dependent term, and it varies with temperature. Now suppose you have got a more concentrated solution and you have to prepare a dilute solution of it, then this formula will be used. See, for dilution of a solution, M1 into V1 is equal to M2 into V2, where M and V are the molarity and volume of the solution before and after dilution. So this formula also you have to remember whenever you have got a numerical involving dilution of a solution, then formula will be used to calculate the molarity of the solution for a given volume. Next concentration term is known as molality, and it is represented by small m. Molarity was represented by capital M, and molality is represented by small m. In many numerical questions, they will only write down the concentration of the solution, a numerical value, and they will either write capital M or small m, and they will not mention to you that whether it was molarity or molality. So from this unit itself, you have to understand, if it is mentioned as small m, then it was molality, and if it is mentioned as capital M, then it is molarity. So let's now come to how to find out molality of a solution. Molality of a solution is the number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of the solvent. The previous one was 1 liter of solution, and this one is in 1 liter of solvent. You have to keep this in mind. Solvent, only the solvent, not the solution. There is difference between solvent and solution. So the formula will be number of moles of solute upon mass of solvent in kg. You can see mass of solvent in kg. Yes, see the formula again. Number of moles of solute upon mass of solvent in kg. So you can see that molality term depends upon the mass of solvent. It does not depend upon the volume of solvent. It is only dependent upon the mass of solvent. And you know that mass is universal constant. It does not vary at all. So this term is independent of temperature. Molality is independent of temperature. It does not vary with temperature because it depends upon mass of solvent, which is independent of temperature. So molality is a more reliable method of finding out the concentration of a solution, but molarity is not so reliable because it may change with the temperature. Since it is volume dependent, it changes or it varies with temperature. So that's all in this video. In my next video, I will teach you how to do numericals based on stoichiometric calculation or coefficient. Thank you.